My E-Type Jag Roadster body is completely refurbished. This is the really fun bit because I get to build a car from scratch. So that is the rear suspension cage fully built up. Gorgeous! Hello, my car restoring chums. Welcome to A Car Is Reborn. My 1965 Series 1 4.2 litre E-Type Jag Roadster is coming on a treat. Now, since you were last with us, there's been quite a few jobs done, lots of little bits and pieces done in the engine compartment mostly. I've finished the front axles now and the front suspension. That's all in place and it's looking brilliant. But lots of other little bits and pieces, like the petrol filters in here. We've got the pedal box in place with the clutch master cylinder and the brake master cylinder. All the brake pipes are finished around the engine bay here. We've also got these thicker pipes, which are the vacuum pipes going across to the brake servo on the other side. We've got the windscreen wiper motor in, the throttle linkage is in. We've got the chassis plate is on, a brand new one, all stamped up, looks the business. And I've even had time to put in the aerial for the obligatory radio to listen to all that fantastic 1960s music. Now, we've got to crack on, there's a lot to do, and the first job is a very, very fiddly job indeed. It's putting in the petrol tank. Absolutely gorgeous. This is a brand new petrol tank because the old one, when it went for sandblasting, we had a huge hole develop in the bottom where it was all rusty, so we had to get a new one. 200 quid, about that much for a brand new tank, which is a lot of money, but then you wouldn't want to make it for that. That's what Steve, the guy who cleans the cars, just told me. He said it's a very complex bit of kit, 200 quid is worth every penny. Now, it's been painted up, because it comes in transit prime, it's been painted up in 2-pack. It can't be powder coated like a lot of the other bits, like the rear suspension cage, because the heat generated in doing it could destroy some of the joints where the pipe work goes on. But I can't actually put that in the car yet, because the first job is to put in these drainage tubes. These drainage tubes are nothing to do with petrol, they're due to water, because round the edge of where the boot seal is here, there is a drainage hole there to take any runoff water, which comes down through there, and a pipe, this one in fact, will connect through there down to this Y piece here, which just drains straight out underneath the car, and a second one comes from in here where the petrol filler is, because that can trap water, and again that runs down to the other part of the Y, and there's another hole on the other side. I've prepped up the tank ready to go into the boot space. It's got the mounting bushes on there and the breather pipe on. It's got the Jubilee clip which will attach the downpipe, the connector in there. So everything is ready. All the gen is in the book, but often you look at the diagrams and it frightens the pants off you because you think it's far too complicated. Now, the big thing is as well, I do not want to drop this and scratch all this paint. So the difficulty is we've got to line up 3 mounting brackets, the main junction to the filler over there, and then the pickup for the tank goes into the hole in the bottom of the boot here, which has got a big rubber seal in it, which has got to drop into. Was a fiddle. This is the last mounting plate that needs to go in there, like so. Locate it first. A bit more fiddling to be done, so a good time for you to take a look at Alistair Ross's MGL2. See you later.
This is a 1933 MG L2 of which there were about 90 made when MG Car Company produced them, and it's difficult to know how many there are still left, but there are about 40 of them on the MG Car Club register, of which probably about 20 or so are still running. It took approximately 2 years, almost full-time work, to carry out the rebuild that's been undertaken here, which in fact was a complete nut and bolt rebuild from the bare chassis upwards. Because the car hadn't been on the road for 30 years when I found it. On acquisition, it was really essentially a wreck. The car as it is today retains all its original mechanical parts. It's the original engine, it's the original gearbox, but the majority of the body and the metalwork has had to be replaced. When the body came off the car, it essentially fell to pieces. Surprisingly, the majority of the parts are still available. The majority of the mechanical parts, that is, are still available. Most can be sourced, either as second-hand or as new. There is a lot of difference between restoring some cars from others because of the complexity. For example, this car is a pre-war, hand-built, quite a complex car. Certainly the mechanicals, and particularly the engine, a very difficult engine to set up so that it runs properly. So if you wanted to do one at home, I think I would select something relatively simple, like an MGB, maybe an Austin Healey, maybe a Midget. It's a practical proposition for the guy at home to do that. Everything's available and not requiring extraordinary or unusual expertise. There were no real hurdles that we couldn't overcome with the restoration. It was just simply a question of working your way through from front to back, to top to bottom. There were no serious, major difficulties that we couldn't overcome.
Tough job that, but it's in, that's the good news. Now, how do you get the fuel out of the tank to the carburettors, I hear you say?
How do you get the fuel out of the tank to the carburettors?
Well, what you need is one of these, a pickup unit. Very simple, basically a plate that fixes onto the top of the tank with a long pipe that goes right down there to the bottom of the tank. Now, the idea is that the top of this tank is attached by pipework to the fuel pump, which is hidden in this offside wing. That will then draw the fuel up this pipe, but to stop all the rubbish getting in it from the bottom of the tank, you need one of these, which is a wire mesh filter.